expensive operations and medical tests, and aggressive therapies, you've laid the premise for funding some and denying others. Now, reproductive health must include abortion and all aspects of the contraceptive mentality in medicine. So I'm wondering, are we going to be funded? Our insurance company is going to pull away from our brand of medicine. In fact, not only are we a target, but I think Janet Napolitano called us a terrorist recently. I do have a rifle, I do carry scripture, and I'm almost a single-issue voter as it's come to be. And yet, that's where we are today. Now, seeing the underserved is also very important. We always want to give back. My dad was a teacher. I worked in Appalachia, in St. Charles, Virginia. We wanted to see the underserved in our daily practice. They are in our community, and I know how difficult it is for Catholic healthcare systems to continue to do that. We started as a for-profit practice in 1994, and yet by the year 2000, we began to realize that reimbursements were dropping, malpractice premiums were skyrocketing, and all I knew is that Our Lady talked to us about practice excellent medicine, follow the teachings of my son's church, and see the underserved in your daily life every day. So when my accountants came to us and said, hey man, you have to decrease those people who are coming in who can't pay you, I said, we really can't do that. So we went nonprofit. So believe it or not, in Northern Virginia, one of the most wealthiest counties in the world, the Tepeyac Family Center is a nonprofit healthcare entity. So we don't own the practice. A board of directors owns the practice. And we are trying to come up with a new way to approach the healthcare crisis in medicine today, economically, medically, and spiritually. But our focus today is conscience, and this is my experience. I grew up in a great Catholic family. We said the rosary every day for the conversion of Russia. And lo and behold, look what happened in my life. That truly was the church triumphant. But then, thanks to formation issues, I began to drift. And I wanted to liberate women from the chains of their fertility. Because I had good priests telling me very interesting, challenging things. And I became the church militant. The church militant. I wanted to change the teachings of the church. So I studied under Charles. I studied the writings of Curran and Father McBride and the rest, and they're dissenting. And it's good to talk about this in the open, because this is how conversations begin, and this is how truth comes to be. And in my profession, it's truly the elephant in the room. And today, in my profession of OBGYN, we see it as the church irrelevant, because we truly don't listen to what's being talked about from the pulpit, if it's being talked from the pulpit. So I trained in Norfolk, Virginia, at the Jones Institute, the home of the first test tube baby in this country. I was there when we coined the term pre-embryo, something not quite human, but definitely not quite like your appendix. Why? Because a husband and wife divorced in the middle of their IVF routine. The wife or the husband went to California, one stayed with us in Virginia, and they fought over the embryos. And the case was a major legal discussion back in 1987, I believe, 88. Jerome Lejeune came, and I was actually on the other side of that issue at the time. But thanks to the intercessory prayer of my parents and my family, and by the way, my dad is from Baltimore, grew up in Wagner's Point, south of the city. My family, my Bruchowski family, Juk meaning stomach, they all live in, good Irishmen, by the way, Irish women. They live in Glen Burnie and Linthicum. And we are proud Baltimoreans, and it's actually a great, great honor to be here. I'm still an Oriole fan. But at the Jones Institute, I learned, we were a contraceptive research and development center, and that's what I did. We also did the DNX abortions before they were DNX. Because really, I wanted to be a real pro-choice doctor. How pro-choice was I? Did I just intellectually assent to it? But I wanted to do it all. I wanted to do it all. And in the middle of the slop, I found myself. Why? The slop was my partners, my peers were all depressed. My patients were sad and depressed. There were STDs, unwanted children, divorce and abuse, unhealthy relationships, and I was encouraging all of it. So yes, when I gave those two young ladies the pills, and they came back to me 2 years later positive for HIV, and then died a year later, I remember them well. I remember the woman who cheered when I terminated her twins because she got 2 for the price of 1. And so what happened was that I found that there were these physical STDs. Everything that Janet talked about is real to us. Janet has the view of seeing the world as the efficient, as the person who cares about us, the intellectual end. We're seeing it from the point of view of taking that knowledge and living in the trench. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I saw every day, and this is what we see today in this world that has been saturated with a contraceptive culture. And it was there that I was converted through the grace of the good Lord and through Our Lady of Guadalupe. It's why our clinic is called Tepeyac. It's the hill on which she crushed the serpent's head. But it was also through Medjugorje and Fatima and Lourdes. And what happens is you wake up one day and you go, you know what, there's a better way. And it's what Janet talked about. It's what our Archbishop talked about. We started to yearn and learn. I want to read. I want to talk to good people. And so basically I found the blessings of natural family planning through a cartoon that Mother Teresa uses in one of her Calcutta homes. And then I found the Couple-to-Couple League and Tom Hilger's NAPRO technology. And I found that there was a lot of good points to NFP, very practical medical points. It's ecologically sound. It is green. And I'm telling you, that is an incredible tool right now. Why would you put this into your body if you don't put it into your tomatoes? I grew up in New Jersey. And yet I needed Janet Smith to tell me that there is a difference between hothouse tomatoes and vine-ripened tomatoes. Using NFP is not only counter to the contraceptive area where you have to ingest these chemicals into your body and then urinate them out into the environment, but NFP helps you get to that taste of that vine-ripened tomato. It's a vision, but it's true, because I see it every day in my practice. Sexually, ecologically, and ethically, it is sound. It is scientifically sound, as we mentioned. It is medically flexible. Fertility awareness. I can use it to help you identify fertility. We can use it to help you identify GYN problems. You know, I'm pretty good at diagnosing and taking care of PMS or PCOS, all these letters that I'm sure the Archbishop remembers from his military days. NFP, which is another acronym, another 3 letters, helps us identify this. And you can use it from 15 to 50 as a woman goes through her years, goes through her own change. But how do I form my conscience as a Catholic? Well, it's, as we talked about, it's our own understanding of the issue. It's my experience. It's subjective. It's my experience. It's my lived experience. When you see women struggling in relationships, when you see them struggling with many, many children, remember, you can't have it both ways. And it's not either and. It's always both. It's not either or, but it's both and. It's subjective and objective of how you identify your conscience. And I'm here today to tell you that I believe that the number one reason why we have this schism in the church today on this issue of healthcare, of contraception and conscience, it's because of me. I am Pogo. I have met the enemy, and it is me. It's because physicians, because these are medical issues, have not discipled and spoken up and lived this to their fellow physicians and healthcare providers. This is that's my opinion, but I believe it with all my heart.